Hey, I'm Garrett. I've been a wedding photographer for 14 years, and I want to share with you all the gear that I'll be bringing to every one of my weddings in 2026. 10 years ago, I did a video like this. Actually, just this morning, the day of recording this video right now, I posted a video of me reacting to that 10-year-old What's in My Bag video. So I've been very excited and inspired to share with you the 2026 updated, streamlined version of What's in My Bag. All these things are things that I bring to every one of my weddings. 99% of the time when I'm shooting, I'm using something that I'm about to mention. So let's kick it off with the camera bodies. I carry 2 on me at a time at every wedding, and they're both Canon 6Ds. Sorry, quick correction, they are not 6Ds. Those are what I was using in my last video. There are 6s. They're the Mark 1 version, not the updated Mark 2, or I think they're on 3 now, but they're the first ones. I like to keep both of my bodies the same exact model. That way, when I customize settings, I can mirror them on both bodies and not have to figure out which settings I'm controlling on this body versus the other one. I'm not gonna say too much about why I use these cameras right now. Nowadays, all mirrorless cameras are good. The one thing I will say, if you're looking for advice in picking out a camera, just make sure it has 2 card slots. You wanna be writing your images to 2 cards at all times, just in case one corrupts. So the R6 is a full frame body. In my last video, I was using Canon, full transparency. Between then and now, I did switch to Fuji. I used Fuji for about 4 years. I was on the XT3s, I want to say. I had a few prime lenses. It was a great little system. I loved it. I had a lot of fun with it. The reason I came back to Canon, well, reasons, there were 2 big ones, and they were definitely me problems. I did not like the back screen on Fuji cameras. Something about them just didn't do the images justice. And then the second thing was just, I started to miss some of the flexibility that full frame files had, and especially once the switch to mirrorless happened, I felt like it was enough to justify a switch back to Canon, getting 2 new mirrorless bodies, especially since I had already had some lenses from my DSLR days with Canon. And the mirrorless bodies, all you need to do is use an adapter, which I have here with the control ring, to be able to use those old EF lenses. So speaking of those EF lenses, here is my favorite, the 50mm 1.4. Now, the 1.2 is probably better, probably faster, probably sharper, but you know what else it is? It's heavier, it's more expensive, and nowadays, I'm not touching f1.2, especially if I haven't for the last 14 years. I've found a lot of value in stopping down, especially since I've been printing more of my photos lately, both for my own home decoration and things like that, but mainly for my couples. And I gotta say, I really love the look of a slightly stopped down image far more than I do something wide open when it's in print. So in the last 10 years, I've certainly shifted my style in that I'm not really caring about how wide my lenses can go as long as they can get the light that I need. So with this 50, most of the time I'm sitting right at f2. At 50mm, that gives me enough depth to tell an interesting story, but still have enough wiggle room if I don't absolutely nail the focus all the time. I put together a Lightroom catalog of all the images that I delivered last year, 2025. I'm gonna share with you some stats that I found about each of these lenses by going through all those files. So this 50mm, like I said, is one of my most used lenses, and I know that for a fact. The next lens in my lineup is the 85 f1.8 EF lens. Again, this one needs to be adapted to my new mirrorless bodies, but that's cool with me. This is not a lens I use quite as much as my 50, but it still does get its reps. But I find myself using the 85 mostly for formal dances, so the couple's first dance, parent dances, anything like that. Especially on smaller dance floors where I don't have too much room to back up, or, you know, if the wedding party is lined up around you and you can't kind of break through them. 85 is a really nice distance to still get up close and personal, but not too much up in their business. It's also really nice to have on one of my bodies while I'm doing a first look. The 85 paired with one of my wider lenses is a really good combo for that, being that I can get the entire scene as it happens, and I can get up tight enough to really see the emotion in their faces. Next is one of my other favorites, the 135 f2L EF lens. I think that's what it's called. Too many numbers and letters. This lens also doesn't get quite as many reps as the 50 and my other wider lens, but when I use it, I have so much fun. The 135 focal length has such a beautiful amount of compression to it, and f2 just allows you to completely knock out the background if that's what you're going for. It's also really great for ceremony, especially in lower lit situations. Awesome for the toasts at receptions. Great to grab some reactions of the guests at the ceremony or at the reception while they're listening to the speeches. It's overall just a very usable lens that, while I don't always have it on my camera, I'm always finding a reason to put it on my camera throughout the day. Last of the primes is the Tamron 35mm f1.8, the lens that I made my very first video about on this channel. I still use this lens 10 years later. Not nearly as much as I used to. It's been resigned to pretty strictly being a macro lens at this point, but that really only came of necessity. When I had originally switched from Canon to Fuji, I was still using this lens and it had probably been about 3 or 4 years. I used it in tandem with my 14mm and the 20mm, so I had a really wide range covered. That range is now almost completely covered by the lens that I'm using to record this video right now, the 15 to 35mm f2.8 RF lens. So this is now my wide lens. It does not need to be adapted to the R6, luckily, because it's huge, and if I had to adapt it, I might actually remove it from my bag because it's so heavy. But it is constantly on one of my bodies. It covers such a great wide range for my style of shooting that I really don't see the need to take it off. The focal length is 1mm more than the 14mm I was using, and the focal range covers all the way up to 35mm. I am missing a little bit of light at 2.8 versus the 35 being at 1.8, but for the situations that I use this lens in, and also my approach to shooting nowadays, the difference is negligible. This and my 50mm account for over 60% of the photos that I take. Now, what I will caveat that with is most of the photos that I take with this lens happen at the reception. Like the 135, it's not one that I'm using all day long, but I will find a reason to use it throughout all the parts of the day. And once the dance floor opens up, it's the lens that I use for the rest of the night, basically. So that covers all the camera bodies and lenses that I use. 2 Canon R6s, the 15 to 35mm f2.8 RF lens, the Tamron 35mm f1.8 RF mount lens, the Canon 50mm f1.4 EF lens, the Canon 85mm f1.8 EF lens, and finally the Canon 135 f2 L series RF mount lens. God, I feel like a nerd. Let's move on to lighting. I no longer use strobes. I use the Godox AD200s. One of them is a Pro. This one's Pro. I don't like the Pro. I like the old one. The Pro has too many features, too many menus to navigate through that I just do not use. All I need is manual control. I need to turn the beep off. I need to set it so that it never goes to sleep, set the group and channel, and I will never touch it again. With all the new unnecessary to me features on this thing, I find myself accidentally through either my flash or my trigger on camera changing something that I didn't mean to change on this, and then having to spend time to reset it. So honestly, the more bare bones, the better for me with lighting. I just need to manually control it and I'm good. But complaining aside, these lights are excellent. The recycle rate on these is so good, especially if you're using them under like 1/16th power, which is normally what I'm doing. Mainly it's 1/64th to 1/128th. What I mostly use these for is cross lighting at a reception. One is on one side of the dance floor, one's on the other, both pointed at the middle. Gives you a lot of really nice depth and dimension in your photos. Obviously, not every venue will allow for that, so there are adjustments that I make on the fly depending on where I am, but that's the main idea of what I do with these. At the reception, that is triggered on my camera by this Godox V863, 860III. I don't really know what to say about this. It's a flash. It does the job. I use these for reception most of the time. I'll use them in situations with mixed lighting, especially indoors like hotel rooms, just to balance out and be able to control my own light. At receptions on the dance floor, I'm usually bouncing it straight up off the ceiling. If I can't do that, I always can just pop up the white card I don't really ever point this directly at any of my subjects. If that's you, cool. Nothing against it. I just don't feel good pointing this in someone's face, that's all. I also have a few modifiers that I can use on these. We'll get to those. But yeah, it's a speed light. I use it when I need it. I don't rely on these. I have this one and another. I'll usually stick one of them on a light stand at the reception so that I can carry it around, place it wherever I need to, depending on what's actually going on at the time. Cake cutting, speeches, a blessing. I like to have at least one light on a stand that I can move around and be versatile with. I also have an on-camera trigger from Godox. This is the X Pro Canon version. Again, this is an older version. I love that it has tactile buttons. I think the newer ones are touchscreen, and I don't know. I'm rough with my stuff. My stuff gets banged around a lot, and the touchscreen just does not feel like me. I like these buttons. So something to think about if you're considering buying one of these triggers. But yeah, this allows me to control any one of those lights, the AD200s or the V860s, from my camera without having to have a flash mounted on it. So a lot of the times I'll find myself using this outdoors when I don't have to have an on-camera flash at the time. Modifiers. I have a few of these mag things, mag grips, is that what they're called? I can't keep up with the names of these things. They're the magnetic things that go around your flash head, which then can accept other attachments like this mag grid. I'm pretty sure that's what this one's called. If it's not, they should call it that. The mag sphere, I want to say. This is great for reception venues where I can't necessarily bounce off the ceiling and the white card isn't reflecting quite enough light. This gives it a nice even spread, softens it up a little bit, and it's a lot more natural feeling to me than angling the flash down and risking, like I said, blasting it in someone's face. I also have this mount and some gels in case I need to adjust the color temperature on any of those lights. Outside of the MagMod collection, I have a few of these little Velcro grids. They too go right on the end of your flash. I love these because they're super cheap, they're quick. I don't have to worry about putting the MagMod mount on my flash. If you've ever done that, you know how much of a hassle that is. I've gone through probably 30 of these in my career, but I'll still continue using them. I keep this modifier. I think this might have come with one of the flashes that I purchased, but essentially it does what the mag sphere does and kind of softens and spreads the light off the end of a speed light. This kind of has replaced the mini softbox that I used to keep in my bag. So while it's not a one-for-one trade, it does the same thing. I have these hot shoe foot stands that you can attach a flash to if you want to put a flash on the ground, or if you want to, have it on a bookshelf or something. Super simple to just grab this out of your bag, set it up real quick, and be done with it. I, of course, have extra batteries. I've got 6 total for my Canon cameras. I keep 2 chargers in my bag at all times. I have a backup battery for each of the AD200s, a backup battery for each of those flashes, 1 extra lens back cap and body cap. I have a card wallet, custom made by my father. A few cards in there right now. Pack of gum, USB-C charger, and finally a tripod mount plate. This is not something I keep in my bag, but this is the strap that I use to carry my cameras. Also custom made by my father. I keep the camera with the adapter that I use all of my EF lenses on this side. And if I wasn't using the camera to record right now, I would have my other body on the left side. So that's my 15 to 35 constantly on my left side at all times. Now that's all the stuff that's in my bag, in my bags. Let me show you the breakdown of where each thing goes. First, I have my sling bag. This is on me pretty much at all times. In here, I keep my 135, my 85, most of the time my 50 and my 15 to 35, as I said, are on my camera bodies already. So when I'm packing up for the day, I have the 135, the 85, a flash, all of my charged camera batteries, those go in a zipper pocket, as do my memory cards. Those go in the same zipper pocket. Attached to the zipper of that pocket, which is kind of awkward to hold right now, is a Swiss Army knife, a tiny little Swiss Army knife. Great for cutting thread. It has little scissors built in. It has a knife, it has a nail file, and also a lens cloth. I'm constantly reaching into my bag and using this. So all of the charged batteries are in that front pocket. When a battery dies, I take it out of the camera body and I put it in this back pocket. Keeping them separated allows me to just be able to reach into my bag blindly and grab a battery, and that enables me to change my batteries in under 5 seconds and just get right back to shooting. Last thing I keep in here, pack of gum. So that's my sling bag. This, as I said, comes with me pretty much all day. It allows me easy access to all my lenses, all the batteries, all the memory cards, everything I could possibly need at a moment's notice. All right, time to go bird's eye. So we're gonna start with the AD200s. They go right in here. Flashes. While I keep one of these in my lens bag during a wedding day, when I'm storing it, I keep it in here. So that top compartment is the one that usually goes in my lens bag. Batteries for the AD200s and for the flashes. In this MagMod pouch, I keep all 3 of the mounts. I keep the grid, and I keep the gel mount that gets cinched up and just placed right there. On top of it, I set the mag sphere, and the gels go in this zipper pouch. These 3 Velcro mount grids get popped right in here. And then next to it, I put my remote trigger for my flash, lens back cap, and body cap, and that's it for the main compartment. Now back in this top zipper compartment, I'll put my USB-C charger, my hot shoe foot mounts, the tripod mount plate, and my pack of gum. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot about this. The 35mm 1.8, because I don't use it too often, also gets stored in this pocket here. Now we can close it up. So in this front pocket, I keep my 2 camera battery chargers and this lighting modifier. There are 2 compartments here, but there's nothing in this one. And in this one is only the card wallet that came with the bag. It's latched in there, so I haven't bothered to remove it, but I don't ever use it. But if you want to know what's in my bag, I guess that counts. That's everything. So that's it. That's all the gear I'll be bringing to every one of my weddings in 2026. I've been using pretty much this exact setup for the last 3 years, and it allows me to pretty much just not have to think about what I'm doing with my gear on a wedding day. Having a system in place that I know where everything goes, I know what everything does, I know when I'm going to use all of my equipment, has made the shooting part of wedding photography the absolute easiest part of it. And that has allowed me to really connect with each couple I work with and truly get the best photos. And if you're like I am, you know a good photo is not always about the technicalities. It's about what's happening in the photo, what that photo can mean to somebody, what that photo says to somebody, how it makes them feel. And no couple of mine has ever complimented me on my use of the exposure triangle, or commented on how fast my camera focuses, or conversely complained about how old my lenses are. All those things are factors that we photographers make up to scare ourselves for some reason. If you know how to use your gear and you're confident with it, it doesn't matter what kind of gear you have, as long as you have dual card slots. You can be a great wedding photographer. So I don't have any other bags that have stuff in it, so I guess we gotta call it here. Let me know what you're rocking with this year. I hope you guys took something of value from this. If you have questions about anything specific, leave them in the comments. I will do my best this time, unlike my video 10 years ago where I hardly replied to anybody in the comments, to actually get back to you if you have a question about any of my equipment. You can also reach out to me on Instagram at GTPhotoNJ. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.